Welcome into the Dreadopedia show. I'm David Lee. Here's my friend Patrick coming over today to join us for a very interesting conversation about race relations, the presidential election, and all sorts of things. How you doing, Pat?
I'm doing wonderful.
Thanks.
Thanks for asking.
Thanks for joining us today. So sit tight, folks. You guys won't want to miss this one. So right away, no point in pulling any punches, Patrick. Here, I've heard that you're kind of upset about the way Donald Trump is handling the election. And before I give my opinion on this, I'd like to hear just the way you feel about this.
Well, it's not so much that I'm upset, but then again, I guess I am. I mean, we talking about the president of the United States of America. This is a man, that represents so much. I mean, we talking about the greatest country in the world, America.
Right. With most opportunity.
Yes, you know what I'm saying? And for this man, come on now. To just go out kicking and screaming when there's never ever been any proof in history of a voter fraud.
There hasn't?
No.
They just arrested a lady last week in Texas for 152 counts of voter fraud.
Is that so?
That is so, yes.
Are you serious?
I'm dead serious. So we can fact check that during the show.
We have to.
Yeah, but so voter fraud does exist, and I'm not saying Donald Trump won't ultimately leave the White House or that he shouldn't.
He don't have no choice.
I feel like this, man. As an American, we have a constitution we have to abide by, and regardless of who wins the election, in the end, we should all honor those results. And as long as there's something disputed going on, though, as Americans, we have an obligation to investigate that thoroughly, and then whatever happens at the end of that.
Now, let's rewind 4 years. Let's go back when he won, and there was allegations of Russia meddling,
right,
or whatever, and oh no, fake news. You know what I'm saying?
At that time, I do agree. Yeah.
So now,
Now this time the shoe is on the other foot, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Right.
Now it's there's some fraud going. No.
Do you find it odd? Let me ask you this: do you find it odd the way I can't recall, in my 30 plus years of life, of our media ever treating a president the way they've treated him? Now, just or unjust. Like, do you find it odd that, let's say, they supported everything that Bush did, Obama did, and then when Trump gets into office, it's almost like they hit a complete 180, and everything this man does, they come at him like ravenous dogs. Like, and I'm not even a Trump supporter, but it's just blatantly obvious to me that there's a bias against the man. What do you think about that?
Well, okay, it's not about how the media treats him. It's about how this man he acts. He don't act like a president. He acts like an overgrown, spoiled child. You know what I'm saying? This is facts.
He does act
whether
like
you a Trump supporter, black, white, tall, short, fat, skinny, you have eyes. You can see.
Absolutely.
You understand?
Yeah.
So, let's go back to the first debate. The millions of people's watching. The whole world's watching. And this man keep cutting this man off. You know what I'm saying? That's not a good look.
Right. It's not respectful.
So why are you surprised of the results from your actions? You understand?
So you're saying if Trump would have acted more presidential, he might have been better received
And
by the media. Is that
and-
your stance on that?
and at the same time, actually, a lot of his views, I like. I'm not, I don't support same-sex marriage.
Okay, this is going to be on YouTube though. Unfortunately, we're not allowed to talk about that type of stuff. And I know where you're.
Nothing against that though.
Before you go all the way off the tracks, I don't know which way I'm. Yeah. Let's get back on the tracks.
All right.
Yeah.
But anyway, so it's some things that I agree with Republicans. I feel like people should work for what they want. Nothing should be given to you. And I feel like Republicans, they if you willing to work, they like,
They like hard work, right?
Right. So,
but I can relate more to that too. I've always considered myself to be a bit of an independent. like politically, honestly, because we both come from the west end of Louisville. I mean, not much opportunity there, and both of us, neither one of us are rich or anything like that, but we both work very hard, and we have a life at least, but we've gotten that by working very hard to get it, and we can relate to each other with that. And that's why I've always considered myself to be kind of a conservative in that aspect, because I don't have. I grew up with nothing, and in order to have something, I have to conserve what little I do have. You know what I mean? So that's why I can relate to them kind of viewpoints.
Right, and that's what makes America so great. That if you want something, you can work hard for that. You know what I'm saying? No matter what color you are, how old you are, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You have that right. And but if for this world, for this country to come to the point to where you support a man that's just outright stubborn, childish.
Right, but for some people on the internet,
use the word ignorant. You know what I'm saying? But that's our president. Much respect. But
are you talking about the bleach incident?
I'm talking about the many incidents.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This man, like with the election. You know what I'm saying? Come on now. You lost. Bow on out, gracefully bow out.
I think he should after the results are tabulated. Just like I think it was yesterday or the day before in Michigan, the folks who are supposed to certify this election in Michigan, I think it was in Wayne County, they actually didn't sign off on it ultimately, so it's not been certified in that aspect yet. And then they had the 140-something thousand plus votes that just seemed to pop up at a certain time of the evening. For Biden, all at one exact moment during the middle of the night. And I'm not saying Biden won't ultimately win the election, but I'm just saying as Americans, we need to at least investigate this. We need to look into this.
Biden has won the election. The American people have spoke, and it's official. You understand? So
I think that there's
and I think it's great.
I'm not arguing with you, but
you got to understand this man. There was a meme on Facebook. Donald Trump didn't make America racist. He just made racists feel comfortable to show their faces.
Do you think that's true?
I do.
Do you have examples?
Right after this man won the office, I mean, they came out of the woodworks. I myself experienced it. You know what I'm saying? And
where did you experience racism at?
Okay. You want to know a specific place?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this is what we're talking about on this show. We want to share this with the world, and we just want to show too. We're just two friends having a conversation. At the end of all this, we're going to shake hands, and because we're friends. I mean, we, I support this man. He supports me. So
I had just met a female friend, and she asked me to go pick up her some lingerie.
Right.
So, hey, this friend was a very attractive woman. So how could I say no?
Right.
So,
right.
I went to go get her some lingerie, and should I say the store?
No, you don't have to. It's
okay. Well, I went to a lingerie store, and there was 3
Victoria's Secret.
Oh, secret. But look, so J Mall, Louisville, Kentucky. But it was 3 lands, and I noticed 2 lands had people in them, and this one land was like. One person over here, so I goes over to get in the land with the one person in, and this couple, a white couple, I must say it was a white couple, a man, a woman, and a child.
Sorry, we got a car riding by. We've got a window open right now. All right, there we go.
They just walked up and got in front of me as if I wasn't there. So I'm just sitting there like. Are you serious? So once reality set in and I realized they were serious, I asked them, I said, excuse me, do y'all not see me standing here? And the woman turned around and looked at me like, and turned back around. And I said, excuse me, do y'all not see me standing here? So she turned around and told me, I said, y'all ain't gonna just jump me. And she turned around to me and looked over in the other land in reference to the it was a black girl in the other land, told me, well, she just jumped me.
Oh, wow.
So I told her that Well, I don't know her.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So she don't have nothing to do with me.
Yeah, that's between you and her.
Right.
Evidently,
Like,
she thought she could take you. Was this woman must have been pretty tough, man? Because she.
oh, no.
No, the woman that jumped her, because she came in your line trying to take your spot because she was evidently intimidated by this woman that took her
Well,
spot.
I don't know what that was all about, but I'm like, you would have had a better chance with her than me.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? So, anyway, this is right after the election, and it was all kinds of things going on at that time.
This was just a couple weeks ago.
No, this I'm talking about 4 years ago.
Oh,
back
2016.
After
Oh, okay.
Trump won the election.
So if something
white
happens and
people-
Trump wins this time, it's going to be crazier again. You think?
if he wins or loses, it's gonna be crazy because people, the world is crazy.
It's polarized, man. It's scary.
and
It's scary in
sad
that aspect.
and sad but true. It is divided. You know, people are divided.
So do you think that was an actual case of racism, or was it just a case of this lady's just being a?
It was to
Can't
me.
say the word,
to me,
you
I
know?
feel like it was definitely an act of racism because you know, on further in the conversation, I was told that she would call the police, and I told her, I said, call them. I said, you jumped me,
Right.
and I'm not gonna lie. There was foul language involved.
Was there any racial slurs
was
exchanged?
no racial slurs, but I did call her at me.
To me personally,
And
this
I
just sounds
really
like a
wanna-
misunderstanding between two citizens. Though I mean, it's just my personal opinion, just from what you told me, just from what you told me.
Well, you have to be there to understand what I say.
And I may have had to be.
And
That's true.
And then the girl, the clerk behind the cash register, was about to serve her, and she sit there and saw this woman jump me,
Wow, and still was going to wait on her.
and she happened to be white. And I told her, I said, so I guess you gonna still serve her. Now, if it was the other way around, if I had jumped in front of them, and this clerk saw that, she would have probably told me, sir, you can't do that. You got to get back.
Right.
It would have been a totally different
Hit you with the
outcome.
line like she's the
Probably
bouncer at the
the
club
police,
door.
security.
Get to the back of the line.
Probably would have been called immediately. And let's just get it straight, with the Black Lives Matter and everything that's going on in the world, Breonna Taylor, I bring it up because we are in Louisville, Kentucky, where that happened. Systemic racism does exist. Racism, period, is still much alive, and everything that y'all seeing on TV now is nothing new. It's just technology.
Well, let me ask you this: is there another nation in the world where there's as much opportunity for people as America?
I mean, let's not get it confused. There is plenty of opportunity here in America, but for the black people, black men, black women, we are looked upon as the scum. Period.
That's how you
by
truly feel.
other races that come to this country, they look at us. How can you come from another country and then look at me like you better than me and you in my country?
Right. Well, it's everybody's country.
It's
It's when
everybody's
somebody gets
country.
here and if they're legally here, I'm
But
for
what I'm
somebody
s-
coming from in a
I'm
legal
saying,
sense.
I've been
you
here
know?
all my life. You
Right.
come here, been here 2 years, and you look at me like you better than me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I was told by an African man, a black man, African,
So,
that when they come over here, they're told, they're schooled, if you want to call it, of what to do, things to do and not to do. And this African told me that they was told not to trust black people.
so this is an African guy.
Yes.
One time I don't know how I stumbled into this, dude. It was shortly after the movement started and there was the riots and peaceful protests, combination of which in the streets, and there was this conversation going on Twitter between people in Africa, like Africans and black African Americans, and they were butting heads in the most severe way. I thought that those two communities, I always just assumed those two communities were had strong bonds, but evidently they don't.
You would think that, but Africans are when they come over to this country, they are told not to trust black people.
A lot of them didn't seem like they did.
That we would rob and kill them and things of that nature. And this is what they're told during their how do you say it? Transformation. You know,
They're told that when they're being brought in, when they're being naturalized, when
right.
given citizen papers and stuff. So what do you think about this whole movement that swept the nation? Well, not necessarily swept the nation, but certain pockets of the nation. What do you think about this defund the police movement?
I think that's ridiculous.
What do you think about
I
honestly?
think
What
that's
do you,
ridiculous. The police are definitely needed. You know, to defund the police, I think that's ridiculous.
yeah,
You know
I think that would just only cause more
right.
chaos ultimately. I mean, there needs to be
if there
some,
was no police, you wouldn't want to come outside. You'd be too scared to come outside.
right, and the bad apples in the police department do need to be sorted out.
Yes,
You know, that needs to happen. But you cannot defund the police. I mean, what is
No.
that just doesn't make fundamentally any sense at all.
Police are very much needed.
I saw this recently. It was a woman, and forgive me, I don't know the city. It was Portland, Seattle, Minneapolis, somewhere. She's on the city council, and she voted to defund the police. And she called the police, though, just the other day on her Uber
Right.
driver for not rolling the window up or down, something like that for her.
Right.
And then she called him a white supremacist and a racist. And
I mean, you know,
but do you find it ironic though that she wanted to defund the police, and then she took the time to call the police over a dispute
Because,
over a
see,
window?
that's the part that people's not thinking about. When okay, yeah, I'm mad they killed black people, whatever, and all that, but I still am realistic. I know that police are needed. It's the bad apples that we need to weed out. And if you're an officer, a police officer, white, black, green, you know what I'm saying? If you see another officer doing something wrong, you should step up and say something. Say something, do something. If I'm out on this beautiful sunny day and I see somebody, you know, bullying somebody, and
Is that when you tear the shirt open? Is there a Superman
well, no,
under there?
what? And then again, too. Nowadays, I mean, in life, sometimes you don't need to. You can make things worse by trying to intervene. You might need to call proper
Authorities.
people. But the point is,
Might need to call the police. Is what you're
if
saying.
you see somebody doing something wrong, especially if you are someone that's supposed to uphold the law, which I'm not an officer, you know what I'm saying? So that's not my job. But if I was an officer and I see another officer doing something they're not supposed to do, and I don't say nothing, then I'm just as guilty as that officer that's doing something wrong.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
uh,
Sure.
nothing more that I hate in this world is a hypocrite. If you're
Bigotry.
supposed to be, you know, protecting the law, upholding the law, but you breaking the law yourself, you know, that's just ridiculous.
All right. Well, let's talk about something a little less controversial for a moment. I think you're a Republican, aren't you?
Hey, like I say, it's I don't really know what I am. I'm a realistic. You know what I'm saying?
But okay, so can you relate to conservative points of view, like hard work and if you want something, you know, like you shoot for the stars, and if you miss, you'll land on the clouds. You know, like are you a fan of that? Kind
I
of stuff?
do agree with that.
Right.
I agree with that. I'm a real true believer that I don't think it made me a Republican.
This guy's a Republican.
You know, but I believe that if you want something and you work hard for it, that you will achieve it. You know what I'm saying? No matter what color you are or whatever, you know. That's the great thing about America. And then even your background, you know, if you made some mistakes in your life in the past, if you truly ain't on that no more and you work hard, there's nothing that you can't help get. You know, but
I mean, that's the American dream. This is not
Mr.
like
Frank
louder with
Fletcher.
Crowder. I don't have a lawyer. We can just ask off
No,
the set
okay,
about
okay.
saying these things. I don't know, man. Like we gotta.
all right,
Don't worry.
all
On the
right.
next show, we will have an attorney here in studio.
Will we?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
We definitely will.
Big boy status.
All right, we're going to step away, pay a few bills, and we will be right back after this, folks. All right, we're back, and we've been debating actually during the commercial break here because we was wondering what to talk about next. So many issues to get into in today's world. Really, I mean, we could go for 24 hours for the next 38 days if we wanted to. But here's something I want to talk about. Let's talk about kids these days. What the hell is TikTok, Pat?
Hey, I ain't been a part of it, but I enjoy it. I see it on Facebook. Makes me laugh.
Are you a fan of social media?
I'm just now getting into social media. Through the pandemic, I was laid off from work for a couple months. I needed something to do, and so I'm pretty still.
So what do you have to say about kids these days?
Wow, gotta love them. Gotta love them.
Gotta love them.
Gotta love them. You know.
That's all you got. No jokes. Okay. His children are watching, so we'll let him slide on this one. He probably has a child watching at some point today. Okay, so let's talk about this. I watched this documentary just the other day on Netflix, and forgive me, I forgot the name of it. It's made by this gentleman by the name of Tristan Harris, and it was about how social media, its job is like not to protect you or anything like that. Its job is to continually draw you in, and how ultimately it just makes people, like depressed and anxious and angry and stuff like that. And the more I thought about it, it's true. Like, it pops up these notifications all the time to constantly keep you coming back for more and more. And it feeds to you stuff.
It's a business.
Exactly. And it feeds you stuff in your feed that only you would search out, or it pops up something and suggests you something that it knows you're going to find interesting. And my point in all this is, I think that type of behavior is what polarizes the world. Like how you were saying how relations are horrible right now. Well, let's just say for example, you're a Black Lives Matter activist or an Antifa or a Proud Boy on the other side or whatever, whichever side of that argument you take. And you're constantly searching these things up in your feed. And then your suggestions are only suggesting you more of the same stuff you see, only reinforcing whatever side of the view you're on. Now, that's dangerous. Because how do you, without, like, we're sitting here having a conversation, open discourse, how can the two sides ever come together if they're doing nothing?
You say social media does that?
I'm saying it's playing a huge role in it. Look at how far race relations have gone down ever since 2010, 2011, 2012. Ever since social media has become such a dominant factor in the majority of people's lives.
Well, I'm not for sure what you.
I caught him off guard with this one, folks. I'm saying social media only feeds you what you want to see, like what you're interested in looking at, and only gives you more of that, and like reinforces your opinions on whatever opinion you may already have or beliefs you already have, instead of ever giving you the alternative view from each side, from anybody. I'm not just saying just for you.
Speaking for myself,
specifically,
social media can't make me feel one way or another. I'm 47, so how I feel. I don't let social media determine how I feel about something or whatever.
Do you worry about maybe it influencing, though? Cause, I know you're older and wise at this point in your life. He's like a wise old owl. Do you think? Do you think that though for kids, for children, for young people, do you think that's scary? Right?
I can understand your point on with kids because kids, man's
impressionable,
open. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So, but that's the world, period. Commercials.
I think this is like commercials on steroids, though.
Music, the music they listen to, all that. And that's where, as parents, you got to step in and say no to certain things that your kids watch, is listening to, because it can play a role in.
So do you think the type of music a kid listens to can influence his behavior? Like let's say you got a little rock kid listening to all this hateful grunge metal. Could it make him more hateful? Or like let's say a young black kid in the ghetto or whatever, because they're just listening to rap music. Is that?
I've never been one that want to blame stuff on music, but things are different now. In my day and time, growing up, we listened to rap music, shoot 'em up, bang bang all day long, but we didn't go shoot up nobody or nothing like that. Nowadays, kids listen to these, rap music. Not only put rap in there, but music in general, and they try to live it. You know what I'm saying? So that's if you don't watch a movie, a shoot 'em up, bang bang movie, and go out and try to imitate it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Music and
what do you think?
And movies are the same thing. It's entertainment. Now, if you go out and try to do that, that's on you. It's not.
Do you think it's okay to blame Hollywood somewhat for race relations when you consider the fact that they, generally speaking, portray minorities in roles of criminals and gangbangers as opposed to, upstanding citizens? Do you think that that influences people's views on minorities?
My answer would have to be 1,000% yes, because if I'm a white person from a small county that don't have no black people in the county, and all I see, only thing I have to even visualize a black person is what I see on the TV, which is pimps, gangsters, and drug dealers, then that's what I'm gonna think when I come across a real live black person. I'm gonna
so you can like grab your purse, maybe cross the street.
I'm gonna do all that.
So you gonna do all that stuff?
If I'm a person that grew, if I'm a white person that grew up in a little small county in Kentucky, Georgia, North Carolina, that don't have no blacks. You do have a certain little blacks, but they stay over here and we stay over there.
Stay on their side of the tracks per se.
Then yes, the only image I'm gonna have of them is what I see on TV and hear in the rap music.
I think that plays a role, and that's why I always come back to things like, don't trust the media. And it's not that I'm like some kind of conspiracy theorist. I just don't see anything good going on the media other than people trying to be it's just so divisive nowadays to watch the news, man. It's just a very divisive program.
This thing with race, I love the fact that there are people we different. It would be a boring world if everybody was the same.
I think Muhammad Ali said the same thing, something similar to that.
I don't know. He might have. Muhammad Ali was a great man.
Very smart man.
So I wouldn't be surprised if he did say that.
Right.
Great minds think alike. But
he's just saying that because he's from Louisville.
Hey, it's true. You don't believe it? If everybody was the same color.
Oh, I don't want to see everybody be the same.
Everybody did the same thing. You don't think it would be boring?
No, because then none of my moves on the basketball court would work because everybody would be the same. So
exactly.
Now I'm already getting a little older.
Look how beautiful when races come together and mix. How beautiful the offspring becomes. Some of the most beautiful people in the world are biracial. So
I mean, I'm a huge proponent of just everyone treating people the way that they want to be treated in life. I know you said this is impossible, but I'm going to mention it anyway. I think what Morgan Freeman said was best. He said, "Don't look at me as a black man, and I won't look at you as a white man."
I didn't say it was impossible.
How does his voice go? He's like, I'm talking.
It's not reality.
Morgan Freeman's. But let me tell you what he said though, for the camera at least. He said, he would just wants, like, I view you as a man and you view me as a man, and there's nothing more to that.
There's a whole lot more to it.
That's what I'm just saying. That's the way he. And what's your take on that?
I think that's okay for him if that's what he want to believe. But it's just not reality. You know what I'm saying? I am a black man. You are a white man. Period. Ain't nothing wrong with that. You know what I'm saying? And if it was an Asian guy in here, he would be an Asian man.
He would just be the Asian man.
But we wouldn't have to point that out.
Right.
If we was all friends just kicking it.
Right.
No. But the point of the matter is...
You're saying if we got on the basketball court, we wouldn't notice that we had an Asian man on there with us?
You're going to notice it.
So what you're saying?
You're going to notice it. Let's just keep it real.
Is that what you're saying? We wouldn't notice it. You're saying if you're...
little Chinese...
Are you saying if...
Shoot, he got a hell of a jump on him.
Are you saying if I'm breaking to the rim, you're not going to throw me an alley-oop because I'm white?
Hey, if you known for catching the alley-oop, I'm going to throw it to you just as fast as I throw it to the black guy.
All right.
The tall guy. So, race is just reality. You know what I'm saying? Period. But that's what makes the world a great place. Like, again,
beautiful place. It's a diverse place.
I love the fact that we different. People are different. If everybody was the same, it'd be boring.
Man, so I guess we'll get ready to wrap this up for the day. But you got anything you want to say before we do? First, let me say this. Thanks for joining us here, Pat, today. We appreciate you taking the time to jump in. We may do some more stuff like this in the future. Don't know what's going to happen after this. He may not ever come over again after this talk.
As long as the hand is extended to me, I'm going to come. Because I feel like, we have a whole lot more to talk about.
And I feel like we have a lot more in common than we don't have. I feel like we have a lot in common. A lot of views on life. And
yes.
Thanks for coming over. Do you have any closing thoughts before we hop out today? Anything you want to plug?
No.
Check out Dino's on 26 and
Oh my God, no! I do not support Dino's on 26. Don't have nothing against them either. Get your money, but at the same time,
All right, Pat. Thanks for joining us today. Hey, thanks for watching, everybody out there. If you enjoyed the show, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and check back soon for more content.
Peace.